會朋友午安，咁咧就會。
Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference. We are here to brief you on initiatives related to the Financial Services and Treasury Bureau and the INTI Bureau. Present today we have Mr. Christopher Hui, SFST, Dr. Sun Dong, Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Permanent Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury, Ms. Selina Yan, and Permanent Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Mr. Eddie Mack. The two secretaries will give PowerPoint presentations first before they take questions from members. Thank you. Good afternoon, friends from the media, fellow citizens. Good afternoon. I'm here to brief you on the major policy initiatives of my bureau in the budget. These initiatives have show the vision and action of this government for our financial markets so that there can be good integration of a capable government and efficient market to allow our markets to scale new heights. The policies cover a very wide range of matters. Now, we have covered our traditional strengths, such as our securities and bond markets, and also our asset and wealth management businesses. We've also got initiatives to embrace new opportunities, such as green and sustainable finance and development in Web 3.0. Now, the budget has announced a number of subsidy schemes, institutional reforms, legislative proposals, promotional activities, and thematic forums. We've also got the roadmap and vision statement for future development. I will go through these one by one. Now, this year sees the 10th anniversary of the start of mutual market access between the financial markets in the mainland and Hong Kong. The Hong Kong X will host the 10th anniversary of Mutual Market Access Forum to share experience with the trade. And we're now discussing with the main authorities the introduction of block trading, the inclusion of renminbi counters under the southbound trading of stock connects, and expansion of the mutual market access regime to cover REITs, bringing more enterprises and capital to the Hong Kong market. Now, on Asset and Wealth Management Center, the government will extend the grant scheme for open-ended fund companies and real estate investment trusts for 3 years and will set up a task force to discuss with the industry measures for further developing the asset and wealth management industry. We will also enhance the tax concessions for transactions of family-owned investment holding vehicles managed by single-family offices in Hong Kong. We will consider the scope of eligibility and qualifying transactions and also flexibility in dealing with ancillary transactions. I'm pleased to share with you that the Capital Investment Entrance Scheme will start to accept application come the 1st of March. Invest Hong Kong will announce the details. We're pleased to see that the new scheme can enhance the advantages of the relevant industries and can also support the development of innovation technology in Hong Kong. In order to grasp the tremendous opportunities brought about by the internationalization of renminbi, we will improve our renminbi business ecosystem. We will encourage institutions to provide more offshore renminbi products and risk management tools to encourage investment here. We will also develop the central money markets unit into Asia's major international central securities depository platform. It will provide better support for renminbi businesses such as cross-boundary clearing, settlement, and custodial services. In terms of the bond market, the last year's budget proposed to expand the scope of the government green bond program to cover sustainable finance projects. And we also set up the infrastructure bond scheme. The borrowing ceiling of both schemes will be set at $500 billion to allow more flexibility in quota reallocation, and these two will gradually replace existing government bond program. Now, to promote or to popularize financial services, in 2022-25 we will issue $120 billion worth of bond, of which $70 billion will be retail tranche. That includes $50 billion worth of silver bond and $20 billion worth of green bonds and infrastructure bonds. Now, we just launched the GBA Asset Management 2.0. This will further enhance stable and orderly tax assessment of these products. Now, Hong Kong is an international asset risk management center. We provide captive insurance business. We encourage companies to set up captive insurance companies in Hong Kong to enhance the risk management capability of enterprises. We will continue to promote insurance-linked securities so as to attract more issuing institutes and talents to Hong Kong to propel the industry's development. To consolidate our competitiveness and strengths in various sectors of the financial services, we will earmark $100 billion to support the sector, to support green finance, fintech, asset and wealth management, headquarters businesses, and risk management, so as to enhance our impetus of growth. We are running the Hong Kong Green Week, and the Secretary for ITI is the lead bureau. The forum has brought together industry leaders from the Asia-Pacific region to examine issues such as green development and climate finance. The Hong Kong MA will co-host a joint climate finance conference in Hong Kong with the Dubai Financial Services Authority in autumn to explore transition financing opportunities and challenges for the Middle East and Asia. The Green and Sustainable Finance Grant Scheme will expire very soon, and we propose to extend it to 2027 and to expand the scope of subsidies to cover transition bonds and loans. We are going to work out a roadmap and vision statement to assist companies and financial institutions in sustainability reporting and the analysis of relevant data. We will also launch the Green and Sustainable FinTech Proof of Concept Subsidy Scheme in the first half of this year to provide early-stage funding support for green FinTech, facilitating commercialization and for the development of new green FinTech initiatives. Now, we are very confident in the further development of our financial market, and we have very specific measures to achieve this. For instance, we have measures to encourage redomiciliation of companies to Hong Kong, and we're going to introduce a bill to the Council to allow this to happen. We will encourage companies in the Asia-Pacific region to redomiciliate in Hong Kong and to attract new sources of funding from the market. We are now trying to list an ETF in the Middle East that track Hong Kong security indices. There are a number of liquidity proposals in the budget to enhance our market liquidity. We will take forward the recommendations proposed by the Task Force on Enhancing Stock Market Liquidity proposed last October, including reform of the growth enterprise market. We're not consulting the market on such initiatives as introducing a treasury share buyback regime, and the target is for implementation in the middle of the year. And we want to maintain trading operations under severe weather. We hope to work out the implementation details by the end of this year so that we can implement these measures as soon as possible. To further enhance our market efficiency and liquidity, the SFC and Hong Kong X are considering a number of measures, including enhancing the listing regime, improving the transaction mechanism to boosting investor services and stepping up market promotion. To further enhance market competitiveness, stamp duties payable on the transfer of REIT units and the jobbing business of option market makers will be waived. That will mean about $10 billion revenue by the government forgone every year. Now we will have to continue to boost the Hong Kong brand, and we will heavily support all sorts of financial forums. Next month we will have major mega events, including the Wealth for Good in Hong Kong Summit, Global Investors Symposium by Milken Institutes, etc. In early March, we will host press conferences, and then we'll invite you here to give you details of the Global Investors Symposium. In September, we're going to host the Belt and Road, the Fifth Belt and Road Taxation Acquisition Cooperation Forum. This will set up a platform for communication and exchange. Now, the government is committed to promote further development of the digital economy. Last year, the Hong Kong A completed a survey and also a study, and phase 2 will start very soon on e-Hong Kong dollar. And other important project is Project Enbridge. It has achieved good progress. Phase 1 of its service, which is expected to be launched this year, will become one of the first projects around the world to settle cross-boundary transactions. We will also expand the scope of e-CNY pilot testing in Hong Kong to further enhance the efficiency and user experience of cross-boundary payment services. Last year, we consulted the public on an alleged proposal to develop a regulatory regime for stablecoin issuers. The Hong Kong May will soon roll out a sandbox for entities interested in issuing stablecoins to conduct trials under manageable conditions on the issuing process, business models, investment protection and risk management, and will also communicate on future regulatory requirements. To strengthen investor and customer protection, we are now in the middle of a consultation on the regulation of over-the-counter trading of virtual assets. By means of early dissemination of information, holistic public education, and enhanced enforcement, we will ensure stable and responsible development of Hong Kong's virtual assets market. That's all from me. Thank you.
We will now hear from Professor Sun Dong from the ITIB. Members of the public, friends of the media, good afternoon. Let me brief you on the key measures of the Innovation, Technology and Industry Bureau under the budget. I'll be happy to take questions afterwards. Driving Hong Kong's innovation and technology development to speed up Hong Kong's high-quality development is a focus of the budget this year. To lead Hong Kong steadily towards the vision of becoming an international INT center, the budget is closely aligned with the directions and strategies under the Hong Kong INT Development Blueprint. In 4 areas, there are key measures to support those directions. First, consolidating Hong Kong's strengths in scientific research and promoting development of innovation and technology industries. Second, developing INT infrastructure and promoting new industrialization. Third, developing the digital economy and promoting digital transformation. And fourth, nurturing INT startups and talent. We will keep cementing and strengthening Hong Kong's strength in basic research, supporting midstream transformation and fostering the development of tech firms, and better implementing the goal under the INT blueprint, that is, supporting the coordinated development of upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors. On artificial intelligence, Cyberport is working full steam ahead on setting up the AI supercomputing center. The first phase It's expected to start running within this year. To achieve greater scientific breakthrough, we will allocate $3 billion to launch a 3-year AI subsidy scheme to support local universities, research institutes, and enterprises to leverage the AI supercomputing centers' computing power. On microelectronics, this year we will set up the Hong Kong Microelectronics Research and Development Institute to focus on the R&D of third-generation semiconductors. Our plan is to submit the funding proposal to the Electricals Finance Committee in the second quarter of this year. Now I turn to life and health technology. The government earlier set aside $10 billion to promote the development of life and health technology. We will allocate $6 billion from that money to provide subsidies for local universities to set up life and health technology research institutes to foster the transformation of R&D outcomes. We plan to submit the funding proposal to Electricals Finance Committee within this year, and then we will invite proposals from universities. From the same $10 billion earmarked, we will allocate $2 billion to support the TMHK research clusters to establish a presence in the Loop area, and another $200 million to provide assistance to startups engaging in life and health technology in the HSITP to foster incubation and acceleration. And we will also facilitate the setting up of the InnoLife Health Tech Hub. This is to bring in top-notch research teams, talent, and organizations from overseas. To foster INT research, we will earmark $3 billion to launch the Frontier Technology Research Support Scheme. This is to assist the 8 university grants committees funded universities to attract top-notch international research talent to come here with a focus on frontier technologies. To support midstream transformation, we will implement the idea under Policy Address 2023, and this is doubling the funding ceiling for the knowledge transfer of technology transfer office of each UGC-funded university. Each year, we will provide up to $16 million in fundings. This is to strengthen the university's efforts in technology transfer and market promotion. Apart from that, we will also promote the development of industries of strategic value. To that end, over the past year or so, we have worked with the OASIS, that is Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises, to approach mainland and overseas strategic enterprises of high potential or representative firms. 40 or so such strategic firms have established a presence here or will be coming here or to expand their business here. They will invest more than $40 billion in Hong Kong and create more than 13,000 jobs. The fact that these firms are coming here shows they have confidence in the future of Hong Kong's INT development. The Loop area plays a meaningful and vital role in Hong Kong's high-quality development. We will continue to support the development of the HSITP's Hong Kong Park. The first batch of 3 buildings will be completed and commence operation progressively by the end of this year. The work to bring in enterprises, investment, and talent has started. To better plan for the development of the Hong Kong Park, we're working on the drafting of the outline about the development of the Hong Kong Park, and our goal is to release that document within this year. On new industrialization, we will implement what's proposed in the 2023 policy address, and that is launching the $10 billion scheme on the new industrialization acceleration scheme. And there's also the research talent hub, where research talent, even non-local technical personnel, can be engaged on a pilot basis in a small number under the Technology Talent Admission Scheme. The INT development blueprint proposes faster development of Hong Kong's digital economy and smart city initiatives to improve people's quality of lives. The Digital Economy Development Committee, led by the Financial Secretary, did an in-depth study on ways to promote a digital economy. Recommendations have been made on several areas. The government is implementing some recommendations, and these include setting up the Digital Policy Office and creating the digital identity for enterprises. The government has also commissioned an expert group to undertake studies into how to develop a robust data trading ecosystem in Hong Kong. On driving digital transformation, we will set aside $300 million to create the digital identity of enterprises, and this means the business version of I Am Smart to facilitate authentication of identity and verification of signature. Our plan is to submit the funding proposal within this year to LegCo. To drive digital inclusion, we will allocate $100 million under the Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Fund to provide digital training courses and technical training for seniors. The scheme is expected to benefit at least 50,000 seniors. The first phase of the scheme can be launched as soon as the fourth quarter this year. We have also launched measures to facilitate cross-boundary public services and facilitate access to those services. Last week in Guangzhou, we launched the first self-service kiosk in Guangzhou for people to access Hong Kong's cross-boundary public service measures so that people can use and sign up for I Am Smart. The same goes for companies. I now turn to startups and talent. The Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation will launch the Co-Acceleration Program to pool the efforts of INT industry and nurture INT startups with high potential as regional or global enterprises. We will also allocate an extra $134 million to continue subsidizing publicly funded primary schools for 2 academic years under the Knowing More About INT program to enhance primary school students' interest in information technology and its application. INT development is crucial to Hong Kong's economy and overall high-quality development. I hope the community can continue to support our work as we work together to drive Hong Kong's INT development. Thank you.
Now is the time for questions. Please ask no more than 3 questions each time, and please let us know the organization you represent. This gentleman here, this lady here. Good afternoon, Professor Swan. I've got 3 questions for you. The first is about next month, more than a dozen companies will come to establish in Hong Kong. Now, for these 40 enterprises, will there be any supporting measures to ensure that they can bring new impetus to our economy? Now, as mentioned, you would like to provide a series of one-stop services for talents. Now, for your bureau, in terms of INT, will there be any targeting measures under the Top Talent Pass scheme? The third question is, now we have got this new industry acceleration scheme, and how is it different from Race Plus? Will there be another scheme to promote midstream development, because you've only got a scheme to promote downstream industrial development? Yes, you're very correct. Next month, the SL government will introduce the second batch of strategic enterprises. Well, the first batch have already come to Hong Kong, as we all know. Now, including CATL, etc. Now, there were 20 in the first batch, and now 36 have already established in Hong Kong. The government will have a series of measures, because we have targeted measures to support entrepreneurs. Now, when enterprises invest in production lines in Hong Kong, it is most important that we support them. We have schemes to help them. Now, for the Science and Technology Park, we have schemes depending on the investment of enterprises. There will be a certain amount of subsidy. in our industrial development scheme and also our schemes to support talents. We also provide grants and subsidies to incoming talents. As new industrialization deepens, we hope that these enterprises can set up their headquarters and R&D centers in Hong Kong. Hopefully, they can set up production facilities in Hong Kong to promote upstream and midstream development. Yes, we have to expedite all these. The loop will have the HSTIP. There will also be 3 inno parks. We will reserve land for these enterprises to develop. If they encounter difficulties in setting up production lines in Hong Kong, well, usually about capital coming from the mainland to Hong Kong and fundraising in Hong Kong. Now, we are working on new areas. In the process, we will give them support, and hopefully the government can provide the lead. We have reserved money for co-investment. Very soon, we will have new co-investment cooperation. For attracting talents and enterprises, the government's efforts have paid off. We have got the Top Talent Pass scheme and other schemes for attracting talents. Last year, some arrived and some have already found jobs. The next stage is to promote high-quality development, and talents are very important in high-quality development and INT. We have stakeholders in Hong Kong who have sprung into action. Very soon, they will have major recruitment exercises. A company has started to provide over 1,000 job vacancies. Hopefully, there will be more recruitment of this kind so that all talents who come under the Top Talent Pass scheme or under other schemes can unleash their potential. Now, how is Race Plus and also new industrialization different? Now, for one, we encourage universities to commercialize their R&D products to implement the transformation from 1 to N. So the focus is on transformation of results. For facilitation of reindustrialization, whether we are talking about strategic enterprises, we encourage investment for investment below $200 million. The matching ratio is 2 to 1. That gentleman in a blue suit. I'm from Phoenix Satellite TV. A question for Professor Sun. Now, you are going to spend $3 billion in AI for universities. In Singapore, they have spent 1 billion Singaporean dollars. That is 6 billion Hong Kong dollars. That is almost the double of Hong Kong. Does that mean that we are spending much less than Singapore in this regard? For the Science and Technology Park, the occupancy rate is over 90%. We may not have enough room for startups. Is there any progress as far as module share reclamation is concerned, given that the park needs more space? Regarding maintaining operation of the stock or security market in adverse weather, when will you start this? You talked about the time when the market is ready. So what conditions are you talking about? Because there are concerns from the industry regarding safety. So will these practitioners be allowed to work from home?
Thank you for your questions. On our funding for artificial intelligence, we will be allocating $3 billion, mainly for local companies to leverage the computing power at the AI supercomputing center. And this is just part of our work about AI. On strategic industries, we treat AI as a key area. We have put money into this. On attracting strategic firms, many of them have to do with AI science. We also have the RAISE Plus scheme. We have the new industrialization acceleration scheme. Much of the funding is about artificial intelligence. When you put all those funding schemes together, we are not behind Singapore's funding for AI. On the point about Park Shek-kok, my permanent secretary can tell us more. Just then, the journalist mentioned our INT infrastructure. For a long time, we have been providing enough land and infrastructure for innovation and technology. The budget also mentions that early next year, Phase 2 expansion of the science park will be completed, and that will provide another 13,000 square meters. Phase 5 expansion of Cyberport will also be completed by the end of 2025. So those works will help INT, and we have not included the development in the loop where our work is underway as well. The first batch of 3 buildings will be progressively completed by the end of this year. So these are examples of key infrastructure for INT. Just then, the journalist mentioned Ma Liu Shui reclamation. For the reclamation, Science Park is doing a preliminary study on land for INT. Once the study is ready, the study will be submitted to the government for consideration. Let me take the question about trading under severe weather. We have been closely in touch with the trade. The question is not whether we should have trading under severe weather, it's only a question of how. That's why we're saying there are details to be worked out. Our goal is to get this done by the middle of this year. And that's for the consultation. But we can only implement the scheme only when the trade is ready. Getting this to work also involves settlement, where money changes hands as stocks are traded, and this may involve back-end operational changes for securities firms. So all these details will take time to iron out. Once we get the details ready and once the trade is ready, we will launch this new arrangement. The same role, the lady in black. I'm from the Hong Kong Economic Journal. 3 questions for Mr. Christopher Ho. First, about the new capital investment entrant scheme. The scheme will invite applications starting from March 1st. The fund industry and banks are watching this. OFC and LPF both count as qualifying assets. Are there restrictions on the assets? Say, are investors only supposed to invest in certain types of assets in Hong Kong and the mainland? Can investors hold portfolio covering the US and Europe as well? For SFC-approved funds, are there restrictions? Do those assets have to be in Hong Kong and the mainland? Will overseas assets be able to qualify? Would there be a list of assets for banks and fund houses to refer to? Now, my second question is about Enbridge. This year, Phase 1 of Enbridge will come out. How many Hong Kong firms can take part in Enbridge? How will the service work? Is there anything about the quota for Enbridge? My third question has to do with BEPS 2.0. By 2025, we will have to implement the global minimum effective tax rate at 15%. The budget is silent on any new measures about BEPS 2.0. But recently, Singapore's budget proposes a refundable investment credit. So will we learn from Singapore's proposal? What measures will we launch? What will be the direction like for multinational companies in Hong Kong? Are there plans for these companies? Let me take your third question first. By 2027 or 28, we will implement the global minimum effective tax rate. That would mean extra tax revenue. We are aware that different places roll out different measures for BEPS 2.0. We are consulting the industry to decide what measures we should take. We have to meet the requirements of the OECD, but we also have to be mindful of our local needs. So we're consulting the market. We're talking to the market about this. Now, the second question about Enbridge. This initiative is about cross-boundary payment. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority has released information at different times. Once the conditions are ripe, we will make an announcement. Now I turn to your first question, the types of asset, OFC, and arrangements for fund houses. Invest Hong Kong will announce the details very soon. Starting from March 1st, the scheme will be launched. There will be a website that will go live very soon, covering information, including what the journalist just asked for. And there, on the website, you will find more information. Next question. On this side. Professor Sun, I'm from Wenwei Pao. First question about the River Loop, the Hong Kong Park there. A government source has said that this year there will be a white paper on the Hong Kong Park in the HSITP, and this will have to do with the positioning of the HSITP's Hong Kong Park. Professor Sun, can you tell us more details about the white paper? What will be covered by the white paper? Will this tie in with the State Council's document on the plan for the Hetao? My second question, it's the $2 billion for TMHK for it to establish a presence in the loop. Can you tell us more about this scheme, please? Thank you for your questions. Now, for the development in the loop, it has received state attention. Last August, the State Council announced a development plan for the Shenzhen Park of the HSITP. For our development, our INT development is now moving faster. So we are closely in talks about the future development of the Hong Kong Park of the HSITP. The overall principle is that we need to work with Shenzhen about the one river, two banks under one park, two zones. We need to pursue coordinated development. Our country has laid down a timetable. We need this coordinated mechanism in place by 2025, and by 2035, the loop and Hetao need to be a world-class research hub by 2035. So that's the plan of our country for the loop and Hetao. For Hong Kong, the next step will be crucial. The white paper will mean a lot for Hong Kong's directions of development, position, timeline. The white paper will have details on all those aspects. For the Hong Kong Park of the HSITP, we will pursue the development in two phases, from the west to the east. The first phase of 3 buildings will be completed starting from the end of this year to early next year. 5 hectares of land will be released in the western part of the Hong Kong Park to build another 5 buildings. So that means 8 buildings are being planned. We know that in the loop, there are community isolation facilities. Those were built during the pandemic days with the help of our country. We cannot let the facilities go to waste. We need to move those facilities somewhere because that represents support from our country. That's why the SAR government is already working on this. For the loop's future development, including the timetable, positioning, there are plans for that. For the loop, this needs to leverage the strength of our country's support and connectivity with the world. It needs to integrate into our country's development, and it needs to expand the reach of the northern metropolis to achieve connectivity with the world. So the future HSITP, the Hong Kong Park in the Loop, will be an international research hub. For the Hong Kong Park, we hope we can achieve something in 4 areas. First, a world-class platform for research, academic, and industry collaboration. That's why our policies have to do with the collaboration of the 3 sectors. And second, we need to turn it into a pilot production base that is competitive internationally, because pilot production matters in the industry chain. The third goal is to leverage the unique advantages of the loop. We need to bring together I&T resources. This means talent, capital, and technology. And fourth, we need to leverage the geography of the loop. This needs to be the testing ground for new policies and new measures. We will launch innovative measures to facilitate the flow of people, capital, and technology in the loop. The SL government will work hard on this to turn the park in the loop into an internationally advanced park, because the Hong Kong Park will also be a node in the corridor between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and will be a key part of one country, 2 systems.
All right. 我们现在呢
Now for the specific measures that will be announced later. Now, what is the objective of Innovo Hong Kong? Well, we established Inno Hong Kong with the purpose of enhancing international cooperation. Now, we have cooperation with over 30 world top-notch universities, and we are progressing well. In future, we will have in Hong Kong. At the Loop, we will also focus on international cooperation and also collaboration with the industry. This lady in white over there in the 3rd row.
Morning Post. 2 questions for the FSTB. The first one is on the bond insurance. From the media range forecast, we could see that the government would achieve a surplus in 2 years with the help of bond insurance, and of course alongside other measures. Otherwise, it would take a few years more to end the deficit. Could you tell us, is the government relying on bond issuance to maintain the fiscal health? Some analysts are worried that it may affect the fiscal discipline and Hong Kong's credit ratings in the long run. Do you share their concern? And another question is regarding the transfer of the investment return of future fund to the government general revenue account. Could you tell us how much would be transferred, and how much does it account for the total investment return of the in the fund? And would the government impose any restrictions or conditions on how much could be taken out, or it is solely subject to the FS decision? Thank you.
I'll respond to the questions one by one. For the first one, regarding the overall approach regarding fiscal discipline, please rest assured that is something very much close to our basic principle, because if you look at the whole way that we construct the bond program and also we set our bond ceiling, first of all, there are institutional safeguards. All these are subject to the scrutiny of our legislature. And like, for example, if you look at the budget, we propose that we have a 500 billion in terms of the debt ceiling, and that will be soon submitted to legislature for approval. So it's something that will be a institutional arrangement and safeguard to ensure that what we do is subject to scrutiny. That's number one. And number two, in terms of how we are going to apply or to use the proceeds, it's also very clearly set out in the budget that will only be applied for the capital works project and also those investments that are going to yield long-term benefits to Hong Kong. So we are not going to use the proceeds to sponsor or to support any of our operating expenses. So it is also in line with the fiscal discipline approach I just mentioned. And thirdly, if you look at the extent or the level of debt that we're going to incur throughout the medium-range forecast up to the year 28-29, it is at most 13% of the GDP. And that ratio is compared very favorably to other advanced economies. So among these factors, among others, I'm sure that the fiscal discipline that you mentioned is definitely not a concern. And for the investment fund transfer, I think what we are looking at is just the return level, but not the principal. And this is something that is also enshrined in the way that we construct the whole program, and also subject to legislative approval in terms of how this program details are being drafted. Maybe I'll provide details later on, because it's something that is clearly spelled out in the estimates, so I'll provide the information later on.
下一條問題，後
The gentleman in white in the last row in the middle. Good afternoon, I'm from Mingpao. The first question is for Professor Sun, and that is the white paper for the development of the loop. You told us some of the details. Last year, the State Council announced the plan for the loop concerning a cross-boundary data flow. Can you tell us how we can do that at the loop? And what about the immigration arrangements? I'd like to know whether you have any details to announce now. And the second question is for Mr. Hui concerning bond issuance. We'd like to know the rough yield of bonds to be issued, and how will it be pegged to any particular level. And now, for capital works or public works, there may be slippage, program slippage. Will that affect the government's ability to honor the bonds? Will the government be forced to dispose of land at a rather low price in order to pay back the bonds? Thank you. Thank you for your question on cross-boundary data flow. Last year, there was an important memorandum of understanding signed between Hong Kong and the Cyberspace Administration of China on cross-boundary flow of data. Now, we'll first start with personal information. Under national policy, sensitive information cannot be handled in that way. Now, since last December, we have got an early and pilot implementation with very good result. In banking, credit referencing, and healthcare sectors, we have that early and pilot implementation. As early January, over 100 enterprises have been involved in the scheme. We plan to, in the middle of this year, expand the arrangement to other sectors if the early and pilot implementation proves to be successful. Now, we believe this is going to grow very quickly. This will not just cover the GBA, but the whole of the country as well. The loop is a special area, so we should have high expectations for cross-boundary data flow. And some sectors are particularly important. We hope we can make some breakthrough at the loop. And that is, we can make a breakthrough in terms of flow of data. Companies, R&D institutions can benefit from Hong Kong's unique advantages, and they should also benefit from the distinctive strengths of the mainland. So we can have a point-to-point flow of important data. Hopefully, important information can be covered. So the companies operating in the loop will enjoy a bigger competitive edge than companies operating in other places. I look forward to giving you more details later.
Let me take the second question about bond issuance. In 2024 to 25, our interest expenses are estimated to be $9 billion. That's 0.3% of our GDP. So the impact is minimal on public finances. Now, leaving aside the interests, different circumstances may occur. Interest rates are set based on the actual circumstances. That's why planning matters. That's why they have plans for the scale of bond issuances in the future. In considering when and how much to issue, we will have to consider relevant factors. We have to be mindful of the prevailing market conditions when we want to issue bonds, and we then have to consider the volume of issuance. Other questions? The speaker is not using a microphone. Speaker is not using a microphone. On setting the interest rate, this depends on the market conditions. We have a good credit rating. Investors also like our bonds, so I'm not worried. Early this year, we issued $6 billion of tokenized assets. The oversubscription for the different currencies ranges from 2 to 8 times. So the interest rate really depends on market conditions. In our plan, there's a part about the financing, and another part has to do with the works. That's why long-term plans require coordination, because these things happen over a long time horizon, and there may be variables in the process. There are moving parts. So we need a plan, and people need to stick to the plan. So we will keep an eye on the coordination and the plan. We're almost out of time. We'll take 2 more questions. The journalist in blue. I'm from Singtao Daily. A question for Professor Sun. You mentioned cross-boundary data flow. For personal data, does that include personal health records? And for the AI subsidy scheme, can you tell us more details on when this will come out and the amount of subsidy? My third question. Much funding will go to INT under the budget. This will cover pilot production, transformation, commercialization. What are some examples where people can actually feel the benefits of all that money going to INT? The first question about medical records. So the personal data will cover medical records. People may have concerns about whether their medical records will go to the mainland, but people can rest assured because there are stringent safeguards on the flow of personal data in Hong Kong. There is the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance. On the outbound flow of personal data, such as medical records, the data subject has to consent before the data leaves Hong Kong. So the members of the public of Hong Kong can rest assured. Now, on the other question, my permanent secretary can address that question about the AI subsidy scheme. For AI development, we have a plan. In 2022, we released the Hong Kong INT development blueprint. We outlined 4 directions. One of them is new industrialization. And for new industrialization, one focus is on artificial intelligence. So that's part of the work under our top-tier planning. In the Chief Executive's policy address last year, he proposed a AI supercomputing center in Cyberport. Cyberport is working on this. Hopefully, this center can become operational by the end of next year. So in the budget, $3 billion is set aside for an AI subsidy scheme. The subsidy scheme is to help companies leverage the computing power to build our INT ecosystem. We have looked at the experience elsewhere. We have also commissioned a consultant to look at AI development in Hong Kong. Through the AI subsidy scheme, we will provide subsidies to eligible universities, government departments, and local firms to leverage the computing power of the AI Computing Center in Cyberport. Cyberport will set up an independent committee or panel on who can apply for the subsidy, the criteria for the scheme, and the computing power required. The panel will also look at whether the applications can help contribute to Hong Kong's INT AI development. Now we hope the timeline can tie in with the AI Supercomputing Center. We want to have this mechanism set up, and once we have the mechanism, we will let people know. Your third question, the amount of subsidy. This will be $3 billion for this subsidy scheme. As for the subsidy for individual bodies, this depends on the computing power that body needs, the purpose for which they use the computing power, and the amount of contribution an applicant makes to Hong Kong's AI development. We will devise suitable rules. We don't have a detailed plan yet, but this is a key plan and we will give it thought. Your third question, I will take that question because that matters. We are not in a good shape in terms of the economy. We're still giving so much money to INT development. We need to prepare ourselves for INT development. We need to pursue high-quality development because we need to achieve breakthroughs for Hong Kong. That's why, despite the squeeze on public finances, the government decides to allocate money to INT. Because apart from being a financial center, we need to develop into an INT center. That matters. Now, on how the public can benefit from INT investments, we will have the new industrialization office. We want to help startups and local tech firms in bringing in strategic firms, such as for the Northern Metropolis. We focus on 2 points. We need advanced technology. First, the strategic firms need to contribute to Hong Kong's GDP. And second, how many jobs the strategic firms can create when they come here. We focus on those 2 points as we bring in strategic firms. So those strategic firms have to make a pledge when they come here. We put so much money into helping startups because those local startups are founded by local young people. When a local startup works out, it can provide jobs for the local population. That's why we're determined to help our local startups. And now helping local companies to transform and upgrade. We have the smart production lines and other schemes. We want to help these firms achieve transformation. The investments are there to help firms scale up production, to hire more people and boost their productivity. On digital economy and smart city, we also put a vast amount of money into those schemes. We want to roll out quality services to benefit the public. Last year, across departments, we rolled out more than 200 smart government initiatives. More than 100 of the initiatives have to do with people's daily lives. Some schemes saw hiccups, but most of those schemes were rolled out smoothly, and those schemes make life easier for people and businesses. This year, we will also roll out more than 100 such smart initiatives. We will learn from the past and provide better services. We have foresight in our INT investment. We also are mindful of people's needs, and we're willing to work together with the public to turn Hong Kong into an INT center and achieve breakthroughs for Hong Kong.
Last question. The lady in white. Good afternoon, I'm from Singtown. I'd like to ask about the new capital invest CIES. I'd like to know about the details. And the second question is about operation of our stock market in FS weather. According to the Hong Kong X consultation paper, the target is to start in July this year. I'd like to know whether there is any change to this time frame. And the securities sectors have complained about difficulties they encounter. What are they exactly, and how will the government help them? The last question relates to IPO. The total amount of IPO last year was a 10-year low. And in this budget, there was a mention of online listing mechanism with no details filled in. I'd like to know measures the government has been thinking about to stimulate the market. The Secretary has been talking about the new Stock Connect. I'd like to know whether that will be included into the mutual market access regime. Thank you. With regard to the new capital investment entrance scheme, it will be implemented on the 1st of March, and the website will be updated, and you can have access to information there. With regard to adverse weather and continuation of the stock market, our plan is to announce the implementation details by the middle of this year. We need details. I think we agreed to the general direction. Hong Kong is one of the rare financial markets in the world yet to have put in place this arrangement, so we have to do it quickly. And as for things to note now, transaction is digitalized. Sometimes there is settlement, and so the banking sector is involved. And if staff of brokerages cannot work in office, they have to work from home, and there should be hardware support. So both the front end and backstage arrangements have to be sorted out first, and that's why we have to ionize the implementation details by the middle of this year. And when everything is ready, the new system will be put in place. And as for mutual market access, now we like to add block trading, and also to include over-the-counter renminbi transactions in the southbound Stock Connect, and also a rate to be included. And we also like to have secure the sovereign debt options. Now, for Bond Connect, international investors, 2/3 of the bond investors participate in the main market through this Bond Connect.
Regarding the returns to be returned to the government covers regarding the return for the future fund. Basically, if we look at as of end last year, the accumulated return of the future fund yet to be returned is in the size of around like 100 billion Hong Kong dollars. But so far, in terms of the previous period, from the year 2021 up to the year 2024, the returns have been returned to the coffers is amounting to 119 billion Hong Kong dollars. And the reason that I can't give you a figure from the year 24 onwards is because it's subject really to the performance of that year.
好，記者會。
I will defer to the PS on the question of IPOs. Well, regarding the listing mechanism, the Financial Secretary said in the budget that we have to enhance the current mechanism, and that will be done together with SFC and Hong Kong X. In general, we have to do this. Now, whether in listing, in a price discovery, can it be done properly? Now, only issuers, individual investors, and institutional investors are involved in price discovery. In fact, other stakeholders, including independent and professional asset management companies and larger funds and portfolios are stakeholders. We will consider whether these stakeholders can play a part in price discovery, so that in terms of asset allocation, we can do the best for the market. And the second question is the shareholding requirement of the listing company. Now, the capital, the company or the public flow has to be at least 25% at all times. There are exemption arrangements currently. How can we ensure that the mechanism is both mechanism and fair, and can be improved to make the whole listing mechanism fairer and more transparent and more efficient? That will be covered in our review. For structured products such as options and futures, as we all know, new products are developing very rapidly. Hong Kong has excelled in this area. We want to further improve listing arrangements for these products. At the end of the day, we'll talk about lowering costs and enhancing efficiency. That is the general direction we are moving towards. Well, that ends the PC. Thank you very much.